back in Studio 2 again. Look at this. Look at this glasses storage solution. Look, they're there. You didn't even know I had them, did you? They're there, ready to deploy when I need to read something. And then they're like, they're a hairband within a hairband. Right? Hang on, no, how did I have them? No, they were on that bit there. Right? And then you can just be quite attical about it. And you don't even know. You don't even know. Look, it's just a fucking hat. And they've got their own dust cover. Weather resistant dust cover included with every purchase. So yeah, I'm gonna call this, I think, Psychiatry Appointment 2. Because, yeah, I did sort of do I was going to call it a rebrief because it happened afterwards. But it was all about the meds, basically, so that can sort of stand alone as a thing that I'm doing and I'm trying out. But I did mention that I was going to talk about the schizoidal coolness, which was a word he enjoyed very much, actually. But it was one of those points where I could see thoughts were happening in his head, and it was when I mentioned, it was just when I got sort of a little bit kind of serious, because schizotypal is, often joked about, and, it's what makes you lovable, what's make you funny. It's like, yeah, but you don't know what's behind it. And like I say, it's a lot of it is the fear of not knowing, and it's not that I think it's bad or I think it's good, it's that I couldn't tell. It's the point where you realise you can't tell anymore. And it was when I just said, it's at those times when I look at you and I just suddenly don't know who you are for a few seconds. And it's the fear alongside, and it was the way he sort of went, as he does. He hurriedly types. And I know what he's keeping an eye on the schizophrenia side of it. Because I know I'm more at risk of developing it. I am. It's like I fit another reason I fit the diagnostic criteria for schizotypal is I've had auditory hallucinations in the third person, command hallucinations, drug and alcohol induced, but I've also had them when I was, 2 or 3 years sober. I woke up with someone screaming my name, and they weren't all, I could just hear them outside, asking where the fuck I was, and for literally screaming, "Fucking Maggie!" And that's what woke me up. I was like, what the fuck? Why is someone screaming my name? That sort of shit. It happens quite a bit. So it's, what was it? Another question that he asked was when I talked about the whole normalising it bit. I should have said the other part first. I talked about the sit with it bit. But I mentioned when I spoke to that guy outside the barbers, and I was like, when life gets noisy was how I termed it. And it's the franticness of like just every conversation, not knowing if you said the wrong thing, or it's not specifically that, it's that feeling without the knowledge of attachment. So the feeling of, fuck, I don't know if I've said the wrong thing. Imagine not that sentence happening, right? You're not concluding that, but there's the same type of uneasiness. It's that sort of shit. But I just spoke to him about it like it was just a thing that happens, because it is. I've tried all of the meditating. I've tried all of the positive affirmations. I've been doing this shit for years. When shit I've been doing for years becomes like farting in the fucking wind in terms of managing it, then I need to look elsewhere, which is why I access mental health services, and it's why I've been taken fucking seriously by them. That's the fucking long and short of it. But yeah, what he said was when I talked about normalising, he went, but does that mean it goes quicker? And I said, yeah. And then he typed more. And I think what he was assessing there is probably that I'm not going schizophrenic. Because probably when you go schizophrenic and accepting it makes it get worse. Which that has happened for me. It can make me panic. It has made me go home. It's been the reason I've gone home quite a few times, to be fair. So I am, in a way, not letting it pass. What I've done with accepting it is like, well, like when I heard the geezer, whatever it was, that he apparently said, yeah, you go and get the fucking, whatever it was, you go jump in there 2 seconds or whatever. And he hadn't said it, and I had to really go, fuck, fuck, fuck. But I said at the time, it was like, yeah, but I could go, fuck, fuck, fuck. I knew in the, notwithstanding what feels like massive evidence and sounds like massive evidence to the contrary, I know that that man didn't say what I heard him say. So that's a sign of being able to control it at a certain point, and that's what he'll have been looking for. So it's kind of, in a way, it is quite a scary thing to think, oh my God, I'm hearing things. Oh my God, I'm seeing things. It's like, yeah, a lot of people do. So a lot of people don't talk about it. A lot of people don't talk about it because they're scared that they'll get nutted off, as they say. Well, that expression can go and do one, because I fucking guarantee you that places in mental hospitals, is what I'm assuming you mean, are very fucking scarce. They have no interest in putting anyone in a mental hospital who doesn't massively fucking need to be there. Trust me. It becomes one of those kinds of social care things when people say, they need someone with them all the time, they need this, they need that, and there's this huge sense of entitlement about what people need, and you think, that isn't available because there's so many people that need it. But what was the other thing? Someone gave me a bit of feedback, which was lovely. They said that it was helped, the stuff I talked about with the psychiatry appointment. And so I'll talk a little bit more about it. And if anyone else wants me to talk about anything else, I will. Just message me. But I talked about being sort of prepared for some questions. And like when he said to me about the amygdala, and in the other video, I think I say, you need to say, like, no, actually. And that sounded snotty. And that's not actually how I answered the question. How I answered the question was, what I'm saying is, knowing that this stuff is happening because of a biological defect gives me a lot more of a sense of awareness of the fact that actually I can't just think my way out of it. It's the thinking processes involved after a will, after a decision, are skewed. So it makes it less of my fault. It's still my responsibility to do something about it, but it's not my responsibility that I've got it, and I didn't fucking draw it to me, and I didn't fucking deserve it. I didn't. It did happen to me, but then you can't say that in society because you're instantly accused of blaming. I'm not blaming, I'm identifying, and the process of identifying that helps me. Because now I don't have that feeling of, why am I on self-destruct? Why am I attracting all this shit to myself? Why does all this shit keep going wrong? Because that's what makes it worse. So that was how I answered that question, with something real and from the fucking heart. That's what you need to show them. You need to show them the real you. Because I'm certain that they're judging you on your reaction to certain things. They will throw you curveballs. And they need to, because as society thinks, all mental health people, fucking patients, are all blaggers that just want a free life and whatever. Well, unfortunately, there are those people out there. Who you can see that just socially, the way they are, they don't have mental health issues, but all of a sudden when it comes to work, they have. And it's like mental health issues are always there. So yeah, that's why they will be a bit firm with you. But in terms of writing stuff down, when I said talk about how it affects your life, well, things like, for me, the relationships one's easy, because that's on all three of my issues, is the inability to maintain relationships. Well, it's quite easy because I'm 46 and no one's ever wanted to marry me. I've never been engaged, never even lived with anyone. Talked about it on a couple of occasions, but it's always been, yeah, not yet though. Because most of my relationships within a month or two are going through a bit of a phase. Not so sure, actually. And that they'll start to see their mates more and they'll be like, how's it going? And you'll know that they'll be having conversations like, oh, I'm not so sure. That's, it's really easy to identify. It's really fucking easy to identify and feed back to them. But then just the knowledge of that, they will then know the psychological impacts of that without you having to give them all the war stories. And I think that's what we get involved with, is telling them all the war stories. Give them something that's sort of cold, clinical, factual. So I might say, if someone says, oh, so you lose your temper a lot, or you get, you have these highly emotional episodes. Yes, I do. So I'll just give a living example of when I fell out with that prick down the road. And I was instantly, the guy said, do you want to just go back there, Mikey? You could see that he knew that I was really fucking flustered by it. And there was another guy, another mate of mine was in the shop, and he started being like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. He started intervening, and they were directing it at him, telling him he was out of line. And, you know, they were being reassuring to me. But that's at the level where, you know, you can see someone goes all wild-eyed and they're all like, ah. And then, you know, having to come back here, and then I'm like fucking fucked up about it for hours, and then I'm not eating properly. When I'm having my times like locked away in here, a lot of the time I'm not eating properly. Again, just tell them that. That's the sort of shit they need to know about, because again, a doctor will go, prolonged periods, albeit for 2 or 3 days at a time, but prolonged periods of poor nourishment have a long-term effect on a person's mental and physical health. They need to have a clear rationale for a diagnosis. And those are the kinds of things. Doctors always have to come from a legal point of view. So it's like, why did you give this medicine? I gave this medicine because this patient showed these symptoms, which I think were in line with this condition. I know that this medicine was formulated for this condition. I gave this medicine to this patient to alleviate those symptoms, to improve their quality of life in whatever way. That's the kinds of, how they have to think. So give them the clear kinds of information that they need in a very nicely presented way. So you might want to do some subheadings of home life, friendship, or you might want to do, you know, temperament, mood, you know, concentration. You might sort of break it down like that, however it makes sense to you. But have a conclusion to it. So this happens, that causes this to happen, and because that happens, my health suffers in this way, in this specific way. Because that's what they need, you know, they need to know, if anyone ever asks them, why are you treating that patient? What are you giving that patient that medicine for? I'm trying to improve that patient's quality of life, because, and they need to feed that back, and they need to say that they've got evidence to show that. So give them that. And it's difficult because there's so much stigma everywhere. And I'm afraid the problem with GPs is they have to be quite judgmental, unfortunately, and they get things wrong a lot because they have to kind of go with trends and whatever, because every single service is stretched to the limit and everyone needs the most amount of help, blah, 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 blah. So that, you know, my experience of getting mental health appointments from GPs is I've had to shout at them. But not in the way that I think a lot of people shout. They shout as they're leaving, or they're shouting personally at them. And what I'm shouting about is myself. No, I'm telling you that is because of this. I have to get that firm with people. But the first guy, it was like, I was telling him all sorts of stuff. The first guy that actually gave me a referral, oh my God, when was this now? 2005. Yeah, God, it was that fucking long ago when it first started into my ADHD journey. Wow. But it was only when I said to him, I've got an IQ of well over 120 and I got an E in my GCSE at maths. And you could see that his Mr. Analytical, he's very much a nerdy little kind of a man. Very sort of, he said before. What should I call him? Dr. But then you saw that he went, because he had a fact and a figure, he had an analytical, scientifical mind. That's why he excelled in scientific subjects. That's why he had the vast amounts of memory retention and deep understanding that requires to study for a doctorate in anything. So that's what he needed. That's what I love, being able to look down on intelligent people sometimes when their intelligence is their undoing, and that's one such fucking situation. You can have all the academic intelligence you want, mate, but it can block you. But I think that's what you're going to be up against. That's the sorts of things you're going to be up against. 1444 is a bit of a whopper. I better shut up. I might make another one actually because I'm on a bit of a flow.